Alright, so I've been working on this pair of pants for my husband for a while now. I've almost got it completely right. I've been working on the height of the pockets here, on the opening if I want it larger or a little bit smaller. So I think I've got just about all of those little things figured out. The thing I was working on last was the waistband, and it needed like a little bit more of an adjustment in the back. So I finally made my last waistband template that I have here. Looks like it's gonna fit him pretty well, so that's what I'm going to use. But I realized that he said that the pant was fitting him a little bit too loose, so I took in more on the sides and in the back, and I've ended up getting that like that the pants go into the butt a little bit that I don't like. He says it's okay, but I think it's not, it doesn't fit him quite right. So what I'm gonna do now is I am going to use the center out, top down method to fit his pants. So I've got my waistband and I've got my pattern pieces now cut out the full length, not just the half. I've got the back. And I've got the front piece. So basically everything that's at the top, the curves are almost perfect for him. Then like the fit at the leg is going to need some tweaking because I really haven't touched it, but I'm hoping that it's going to be fairly simple when I do it. So now what I'm going to do is use that center out, top down method with my fashion fabric. I'm going to cut out the waistband and I'm going to cut out one front piece and one back piece, and I'm going to fit the waistband on him and fit the pants on him, and then I will fix any curving issues, or I will see if I need to fix the waistband anymore. I'm going to do that because this is obviously not linen fabric, and I have a feeling that it's going to fall a little bit differently, so I want to do another test before I finally put the pants together. And hopefully, having done so many tests, more or less the front of the pants and the curves of the pants will fit him almost perfectly, and any tweaking that I will be able to do, I will be able to do it cut out of this fabric. And then I can adjust the pattern and I can cut out the second side of the pants, and then I will be able to fit it all together. And of course, this is really technically a mock-up as well, although I do want it to end up being an actual pair of pants that he can wear. It is a mock-up for his wedding suit pants, so let's see how it goes. Alright, so first I'm going to cut out the waistband that I have. This is cut on fold here, so I'm going to fold my fabric. The linen, as I've been reading about, doesn't really have a nap, which means that like it doesn't have a grain that runs like, it doesn't have like a grain line. Since it is a woven fabric, you can't really tell that it necessarily goes in one direction or the other. I think for my piece of linen, that is fairly accurate. It does have a bias, obviously. But anyways. Let's start by cutting out this waistband here. I pressed my fabric the other day, and as anybody who's watched any of my videos knows that I do not like to iron things. But I did iron it because I want this to turn out the best and most professionally that I can. And I know that that does have an effect in the final product. So this is my fold here. Right, now that I got it pinned down, I can go ahead and cut it out. I'm leaving little bit of seam allowance on the end to be able to finish the waistband neatly and nicely. Okay, so I've seen in all the patterns of the waistbands that this is like the waistband piece, but they've never really shown how to calculate that little flap that overlaps. So what I've done is just added a piece. I want mine to overlap 5 centimeters, so that's what I did. I added another 5 centimeter piece, and I fitted it so that it would be like the reflection of this 5 centimeters here. And then I had to do a little bit of editing. I don't know if you can see all the tape. Like I took off from the top so it would be a little bit smoother curve, and I put it on the bottom. So it all should still be a 5 centimeter long waistband, including the seam allowance there. But I only need it on 1/2 of the waistband. So I've just cut out both of it. But I really need to cut off that on one side here. Since I like to have fabric to work with, I am going to mark it with the chalk on the side that needs to cut off, leaving seam allowance for it to also be cut nicely, but I'm not going to cut it yet. That is my real line, and if I add seam allowance here, more or less I would want to cut it along that line there, but I'm not going to cut it. Alright, so this is the waistband. Now what I'm going to do is cut out a second piece. I'm going to use this one, just so that I cut out the exact same amount on the edges that I did, and so that they're identical. And then I will sew the waistband together at the top and pin it so that I can use it for the center out, top down fitting that I'm going to do next. Alright, so now I can go ahead and cut this second piece out. Most people, when they do a waistband on a pair of pants like this, they would use an interfacing to reinforce the fabric so that it doesn't stretch. Usually, like, your options are like a fusible interfacing that you put on with an iron, or more old-fashioned style is a piece of hand-sewn in interfacing that you would put here to stabilize the fabric, give it a little bit more shape to it, and so that there's no like stretching and pulling of the fabric. However, I would really like this suit to be completely natural, so I would love to buy like cotton thread or linen thread to sew it. Unfortunately for this mock-up, I'm going to use polyester, but hopefully for his wedding suit I can buy online cotton or linen thread that matches. And so I want to see how it's going to turn out if I don't use any interfacing at all. And if I see that it does need interfacing, I think my best solution would be to cut out a piece of the same fashion fabric and use it as a sew-in interfacing. That way the entire garment still has its integrity of all being linen, all natural fiber, but I will have that extra shape and reinforcement there without adding bulk. But I'm going to try it without interfacing, so that is why I'm not using interfacing here. Alright, next I'm just going to cut out one front and one back piece, and later, hopefully after applying the center out, top down method and fixing any kind of issues that I might have with the hang of the fabric or with the curve of anything, then I will proceed to cut out the second set of legs. My pattern has seam allowance in it already, so I don't have to worry about adding seam allowance, so I'm just going to butt it up to the edges as much as I can. So I have my pattern piece. I marked my darts on here. I marked 10 centimeters down, same as this one, and I drew my curved lines going this direction. Ponte los pies juntos. Da la vuelta.